I quit weed after 24 years of smoking. That's a long fucking time. Anyways, so let me give you some weed history on my weed history with marijuana. And I started smoking before it was even cool. When I started smoking weed, none of my friends smoked weed. I would literally do it by myself and listen to music or make music and stuff like that, make beats. I really wasn't focusing on trying to fit in or none of that stuff. I actually didn't give any type of a fuck about that. Kept smoking on and off throughout the years, consistently though. But when I hit 18, I was like, okay, I want to be high all the time. This is lit. I like being high. I want to be high all the fucking time. Continued that throughout my 20s and into my 30s now until recently. No one smoked as much weed as me, is what I first want to say. You either didn't have the time or you didn't have the money. If you had a job or something, you didn't have as much time because I would be working from home and for myself and I could smoke whenever I wanted to smoke. Or you didn't have the money because I was buying the best weed out, literally the best weed out. I didn't play no games when it came to my loud. I wanted the loudest of the loud. I didn't want no bullshit weed. I didn't want no ounce of the weed or deals or anything. I wanted the most potent indica money can buy. Now, why did I quit? Why did I quit? I've been playing with this idea in my mind for some time now, probably about, before I stopped smoking, probably about 2 or 3 months. I've been telling myself I need to take a break. I wasn't planning to quit. For a long time, my plan was to just stop smoking weed for a little bit, tolerance break or whatever they call it, just to reset the calibration, just to really see what life and myself is like sober, because I haven't known that for decades upon decades, really. So that was the first step that made me want to. I had these seeds in my mind that were edging me towards it. It was really two keys that unlocked the door. The first key is this clip right here that I'm going to play for you guys right now.
That weed is one of the most dangerous drugs of all because it halts your ambition. It stops you from being unhappy with your current crap situation. You play your PlayStation, you eat your pizza, you smoke your weed. That's a good day. That's a bad day for me. And it's a bad day for you if you minus the weed.
Now, that clip was the first thing that it blew my fucking mind. It really blew my fucking mind because I was like, there's so much in my life I'm not comfortable or happy with, but I just get high and then it's like, fuck it, who cares? You get high and you feel good. It makes you feel good. That's like one thing about it, that it makes you feel very good, but that's a pro and it's a con. Because if you're not happy with your living situation or your money situation or your girl situation or your physical health situation, why the fuck should you feel happy and content and not worry about that stuff? You need to worry about that stuff. Which ties into my quote that I kind of have, that I say, if you don't like the way life tastes, you have to change the recipe. I had to change the recipe. So I started working out. That was the first step, the easiest step. Then things still weren't changing. So I'm like, it's time to make a drastic change now. Let me stop smoking weed. The second key was my friend Nadine. Shout out to Nadine. I was walking, we lived near each other. I was walking down the street and she saw me and she was like, yo, open your eyes. Like, why the fuck do you look like that? Open your eyes. And in my mind, I wasn't even that high at the moment. And I was just like, shit, like, I don't really give a fuck about what people think, but your outwards appearance affects how receptive people are to you. And you have to give a fuck what people think to an extent if you're trying to do business or deals and things of this nature. So that was the second key where I'm like, wow, I'm just fucking fried out here, thinking every day is a great day and thinking I'm some super focused dude when I'm not, and I'm actually just high out of my fucking mind, like all these people, which made me want to quit too. When I see people, when people smoke with me, like they're fried. By the end of our session, they could barely stay awake, they could barely talk properly. It's just all these things combined together, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, basically? Everyone that I know that smokes weed, it doesn't benefit them. They're not rich, they're not super successful, they're not in a position or someone that I would aspire to be. So why am I following this same recipe and the same protocol that I'm seeing doesn't work? And I realized just how high people were. Like, they'll come over or I'll meet someone and they're energetic and we're talking and it's flowing, and then we smoke and it just goes like this. People always say, oh, I could work out high, I can study high, I could read high, which I was the most functional weedhead anyone ever known. And people in the comment section, please confirm this and tell people, I was the most functional weedhead that existed on earth. I would get so much shit done. I'm an extremely motivated individual. But Why make things harder for yourself? Why add that extra layer of challenge to things that are already hard in the first place? It's already hard to wake up early in the morning and work out. So why do that when you're groggy off, a couple blunts from the last night or something like that, right? These are all just things that came to my mind and made me realize I got to step my game up. And they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over, hoping for the same results. So that ties back to what I was saying. I was just doing the same thing every day, day in, day out, hoping for the same results. So, there'll be times where I may have felt a bit lonely and I'll smoke and I feel fine. But I need to feel lonely. The loneliness is what makes you go out and talk to people more and be more social and want to be more social, right? Or there are times I'll just be frustrated with situations or people in my life and I'll just smoke and it just dissolves. But why are you dissolving that? Those are things that you need to address. If there's people in your life that are frustrating you, you need to get to the bottom of those issues or you need to cut those people off. If there's people that aren't doing what they should be doing in your life, you can't just be brushing those feelings under the rug, which is exactly what weed does. It puts your mind in the clouds. I had a friend who, he has a kid and he's like, yeah, I like to just zone out, do some shrooms sometimes and smoke and just have my mind in the clouds. It frees my mind. I'm like, buddy, don't go too far up in the clouds because your kids and your girl are on this earth 2 feet on the ground. So where are you really going? You need to be right here. You need to make this environment something that you're proud of instead of being up there where it doesn't really matter, which is another topic in itself with like spirituality and people being woke and this and that. Like, we live on this earth. We live here. This is where we are. It's like those people who say, oh, God will do this for me. God will do that for you. You got to do it for your fucking self. God gave you these and this, so you have to do it for yourself. You can't just be in the matrix. But if you are trying to quit, you should know these and you should expect these, because there was a couple things I didn't expect and I had to research them because I felt like, oh my, should I go back to smoking? Like, what's going on here? So the first was no appetite. I didn't eat for the first 3 days, basically. Any food, 2.5 days, nothing. I couldn't eat. It'd make me throw up or like feel like I was going to throw up. So I ate absolutely no food for the first 3 days. Now, that was one. Number two was depression and anxiety. So right around the second or third or fourth day, a lot of depression, like super depressed. And I'm not a depressed kind of dude, but it was like super depression. I was literally like, what's the point of life? Why do I even try? Why am I doing this? Why do I work out? Like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about me? Who do I give a fuck about? Crazy, very dark, a very dark mode to be in. Sleeping problems. Now, those lasted for the first week to 2 weeks. It was very hard to fall asleep. Very hard to fall asleep. I was working out, sweating, busting my ass, and I couldn't fall asleep till 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. Low energy. I had no energy. I was still working out the whole time because I knew that's what I had to do. So I was pushing through my workouts, but I really just saw a decline in my strength and my performance. Low energy. After my workouts, I'd have to take a nap, which I never do. And it's weird because you have low energy, but then you can't fall asleep at night, right? So it's tricky. It's tricky. And a lot of people use weed to fall asleep anyways, which is probably one of the worst things you could do for your sleep. Diarrhea. I had the bubble guts for the first week. Like, I was literally just leaking. My stomach felt like it was upside down. No matter what I ate, I could eat a lot of fiber and this and that and vegetables and fruits and stuff, but it was just, my stomach was not having it. You just got to tough it out. I was drinking a shit ton of water. I'm talking like these water bottles right here. I was having 3 of them, and that's a 1.5 liter a day, trying to just flush everything out. Maybe it was helping or hurting. I don't know, but that's a symptom. Night sweats. For the first 10 days, I would say, when you do fall asleep, I woke up covered in sweat. My t-shirt was soaked. My pillowcase was soaked. Everything was soaked. I was just sweating. It was like my body was literally pushing out the THC. Like, okay, your body knows what's up. Our bodies are survivors and they want to survive. No matter what we do to our body, it wants to survive and it wants to thrive. Another very weird symptom is the dreams. So I don't want to get too scientific about this, but the chemical that drips when we dream in our brain, THC blocks that. So when you smoke weed, you're very likely not going to dream. Then when you stop smoking weed, your brain tries to pump that in overdose to catch up for what it's been missing. So the dreams get vivid every single night. Even now, still, I'm on like my 4th week, I think, and I'm still every single night having dreams. They could be nightmares. I've had a couple nightmares. And shout out to my homie Big Blacks, because he quit weed too. He smoked like me and he quit. And I asked him about it and he said, it's your subconscious mind purging negativity from it, which is exactly what it is. My dreams and these nightmares I would be having would be about the most deep down negative thoughts I have, or negative things or negative people just popping into my dreams. So now before I go to sleep, I meditate. I take a few minutes, I meditate. I have some positive thoughts. I read, I put my brain in a good zone, but it also made me realize about the content that you consume and the people you talk to and the conversations you have, how much all of that stuff stays in your subconscious. So if you're talking to a super negative person who doesn't have anything good to say, it showed me the amount of damage that's actually affecting us. Because I'm talking about somebody would have said something weak to me years ago that really bothered me, and I'd have a nightmare themed upon that thing that they said. So it really makes you think about content you take in, videos you watch, people you talk to, conversations you have, everything. Movies you watch. Like, a lot of people love scary movies. You guys are going to be fucked when you quit weed. I'll tell you that much. All that scary movie shit that's in your subconscious is going to come up in your dreams. So get ready to purge that out, and it's not going to be easy. Anyways, that's the bad part. Now let's talk about the good part, the benefits. So first of all, the number one benefit is I'm here doing this motherfucking podcast or vlog, which I've been thinking about in my mind for years upon years, like 2000, before COVID or during COVID, 2019. But I've never got it done because I was just high. People may have great ideas when they're high, but they don't execute shit. You'll sit around and talk and talk and talk and nothing will happen. That's one benefit is I've noticed I've been very much more motivated to execute plans I have in my mind. My workout game has stepped up like crazy. My diet is on point. I'm going to sleep earlier. I'm reading, meditating, all these things I know I should do. Now I'm doing them because I'm more motivated to do so. Another benefit is it's easier to get tasks done that I know I need to do. Being sober gives you that edge where you do these things. There's no, I have to do this. This has to be done. I'm going to do this, right? There's no smoothing over or brushing anything under the rug, figuratively or physically, actually. So in a sense, I'm more inspired. I'm very inspired. I feel very inspired. Playing video games doesn't make sense to me anymore now. When I sit and play video games, I'm like, well, I'm not trying to become a video game streamer, so what the fuck am I doing here? I'm just staring at a screen, twiddling my fingers for hours on end. For what purpose? It's not going to get me women. It's not going to get me money. It's not going to get me healthier. So what am I doing? So I really haven't played no video games. I'll turn it on and I might play Grand Theft Auto or something just for 20, 30 minutes, and then the luster is gone from those. Conversational skills greatly increased. My vocabulary was plummeting the more and more weed I smoked. The higher I got, it was just dumbing it down to the point that every time I'm talking, I'd be like, saying, and I'm catching myself doing it like, what the fuck is going on here? So my conversational skills have gone through the roof. I can talk to people much better. I can express myself much better. That's a good thing to look out for. Now, another benefit is you take life more seriously. Being sober, it's a little boring, but that's the whole point. If my life is boring, I have to turn up my life. I can't just smoke and have this artificial joy going on. I need to turn up my life for real. I need to be like, all right, this is what bothers me. I'm frustrated right now. Okay, I'm a little bit lonely right now. Let me go out or text a girl and go out on a date or something like that. You know what I mean? As opposed to me being high and I just wouldn't even care anymore. I'd be in the matrix, so to say, literally in the matrix. The main benefit now that I will say is you come back to reality. People always say, oh, I don't like being sober. You know, life is boring. You just said what the problem is. Your life is boring. Turn up. Go make more money. Go out to some parties. Go on vacations. Go talk to some girls. Fix up what has to be fixed up. Address those emotions. If you're feeling frustrated or whatever, say your partner or whatever, you know, you get really frustrated and you smoke high, you get high and you're like, you know, that's better. And now you're sober and you're like, you know, my partner really frustrates me. Maybe that's not the right partner for you. Or maybe you two need to sit down and address issues, effectively communicate to each other how you feel and what's going on. Or even with your children. Oh, my child really bothers me when I'm sober. I'm rough on him. Then maybe there's something as a parent you need to work on to become a better parent. because you can't be using weed to become a better parent. You have to be a good parent on your own, right? Another benefit, connecting with who I really am. So we all have an image of who we are in our brains and what we think we are and what we actually are. And weed separates that gap a lot. People who smoke a lot of weed will have an image of themselves or their life and the person who they are that just is in the matrix. It's up there, right? So it really connected me more with who I am. Like, okay, I'm bored. I need to do this. I want to get in shape, so I need to get in shape. It just connects you with who you are and what your actual goals are. I'm saying that to say it makes you become uncomfortable with the things you need to improve. There's things we all need to improve. And when you're sober, there's no other option but to improve them. When you're high, you can skip over it. You can skip over it, close the tab, so to say, in your mind, and just zone in on whatever you're zoning in at the moment, escaping reality. It escapes you from reality, right? And reality is where we live. You can feel good high every day, but if your reality sucks, then eventually that's going to wear off. And eventually you should work on your actual reality, right? The last benefit that I would say is less acceptance of failure. So there would be times where I'll see a super cute girl at the grocery store looking at me. I'll be high out of my mind. And in my mind, I'm like, you should go talk to her. She's clearly showing you attention and attraction. But I wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, whatever. And then I go home and just smoke and forget about it or still think about it, but it makes it easier on me. Being sober now, if that situation happens to me, it bothers me all fucking day. If not the next day too. To the point that any girl I see showing me attention now, I have to go talk to them. I don't care if they reject me or they're like, I'm not interested or whatever. I can't accept failure now because the feeling of failure, I can't brush it under the rug. Like I said, you have to address that. So some quick tips for quitting if you're trying to quit. Because when I told people I'm quitting, a lot of people know that I was like the biggest weed smoker that existed ever in the city, pretty much one of them. So a lot of people now are like, wait, D is quitting? So me quitting has caused huge waves. A lot of people are like, you know what? I've wanted to quit for a long time. I'm not really enjoying this anymore. Which, by the way, the weed is so potent nowadays, not to get too conspiracy theory, but there's a reason it's legal now in Canada. They want people's brains to be mush. Back in the day, it was different. Nowadays, people smoke and it shuts you down. It shuts down your motivation. It shuts down your inspiration. It shuts down your drive. It literally makes you a vegetable, an actual vegetable. So these are my tips for quitting. Isolate yourself for the first few days as best as you can. The first 3 to 4 days, just try to stay home and not talk to anyone, not see anyone, not do anything, because that's going to make it easiest. You will be very agitated and edgy and emotional, and it's just not a good position to be around other people. Sweat a lot. Hot showers, saunas, working out, jogging. Sweat as much as possible. Turn the AC off. Sweat, 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 sweat. Your body is purging it out through the sweat. I guess, I don't know the scientifics or whatever, but try to sweat as much as possible. It makes it a lot easier. Drink a ton of water, as much water as you can drink. You should be pissing at least 10 times a day. You have to flush out your system. Otherwise, you're just prolonging all these withdrawal effects and these bad emotions and feelings. You're just going to prolong it if you're not trying to flush it out of your system. Try to eat clean. So as clean as you can, a lot of protein. Stay away from other salty and sugary kind of substances, because in this time that you're quitting, it's very easy to pick up on other addictive things, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, sugar. Try to feed your brain. So feed your body water, good food, exercise, but try to feed your brain as much as you can. Watch videos on quitting like this one. Watch inspirational videos, read books. And I'm talking about reading books. Don't listen to audiobooks when you're driving and stuff like that. No, take some time out of your day, sit down, pick up a physical book, turn your phone off or put it on silent and read. It's things like this that create physical dexterity, and you'll be noticing that you are wanting to do things like this more in this period just after the first few days when you start quitting. So feed your brain as well as you can. Don't just try to quit weed and play video games nonstop. You're just replacing one with another in a sense, right? Because it's a lot to do with dopamine too. Getting high just floods us with dopamine. Playing video games floods us with dopamine. Watching porn and jerking off floods us with dopamine. So we have to learn to be away from dopamine. Now, in regards to the depression, anxiety, and frustration and agitation type feelings that you might feel them. I mean, that's life. People say, yeah, you know, I've been off weed for a year now and there's some good days and some bad days, but da-da-da. Bro, that's life. What is life? Is life supposed to be one great party where we feel amazing all day, every day? No, it's not. These feelings are the fuel for the fire for leveling up. At Level Up Protocol, that's what I'll tell you. Frustration, depression, loneliness is the fuel for the fire. If you don't feel these feelings, you're never going to want to, you're just going to be comfortable. You're never going to want to level up. So use those as the fuel for your fire. Will I stay off weed for good? So originally this was going to be a detox. I was going to do a 30-day detox, tolerance reset, and I had a whole program for how I was going to go back to smoking. I was going to do once on Friday, as much as I want on Saturday, and Sunday once in the day, because weed destroys your sleep. I'm sure you guys know, waking up after a night of smoking, like, it's hard work. You got to pull your ass out the bed. That was my original plan, but now being sober, I don't think I'm going to go back to it. It doesn't really appeal to me anymore. My life right now is aimed at being as productive, as physically fit, and as financially fit as I can be. Use this as the fuel for your fire and say, hey, if this guy can do it the way he smoked, then I can do it. And I promise you, it's only going to have positive benefits in your life. You're not going to quit and things aren't going to get worse. It'll seem like that, but that'll show you how you have to make things better. So that's it. Level Up Protocol, subscribe, like, all that good shit, and that's it.